Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. This time we are going to be looking at E.V.O, The Search for Eden. This is one of those games. Oh gosh, it's one of those games that I love to hate. I really, oh man. So, this game is one that I found back in like the late 90s, I think, when I was just looking for ROMs online. And like a lot of retro games back then, I had no idea what this was, and so I just bought it. Well, I didn't buy it. I just downloaded it and checked it out to see what was going on with it. And when I did, I remember really liking this back then. Like, liking it way more than I do now. I'm not sure what happened, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I had more free time and I had a lot more patience back then. It could be any number of things. But at the time, I remember really enjoying it just because it was different. I hadn't really played a game like this before. And it had a lot of stuff in it that I really liked. So, gosh, going back to this now and playing it, man, it's got some flaws that that just were driving me crazy. I'll get into those in a little bit. So you start off the game and you're a fish. Your goal is to basically evolve throughout different periods of time, and you eventually end up becoming a human. Which I didn't know you could do before the end of the game. I had never reached the stage, which is level 5, where you can actually become a human. I didn't know you could do that in stage 4, so that was kind of interesting. The first thing that I should probably say, this game is beautiful. This has some of the best sprite art that I have seen in a very long time, or at least on the Super Nintendo. It's right up there with Secret of Mana, which I always thought, this has that had the best sprite art, but I think this one is right up there with it. There's a lot going on in this game. It looks great, but then you have to get to the bosses, and that's where stuff kind of goes sideways for me. So one thing with the bosses that drives me insane is they can lock you into like an endless loop where they can just keep attacking you and they can kill you really quick. You can do this to them too, but of course, because, it's happening to you, it feels much more annoying. When you're doing it to the boss, then you're like, oh, this is great. But it just, oh god, that got so annoying for me. So throughout the game, you're able to just sort of evolve different body parts. And those, improve your characters in different ways. So you'll maybe get more hit points, you'll get better defense, you'll get better attack, you'll be able to jump higher, you'll do more damage when you do the jump attack, that sort of thing. I've never really seen these matter too much, aside from like the attacks. It never felt like the defense did anything. I know it does, and you can kind of see some of the hits, like they go lower, but you can get locked in those spots where there's no like recovery time in between being hit. So it never felt like your defense actually did anything. So we made it out of the fish stage, which is kind of fun. You fight that giant shark that I showed. That one was okay. It was definitely trying to be just the intro level. Then you go on to the amphibian level, which is the one where they just start throwing bosses at you like crazy. You fight this guy, then you fight the king bee, and then you fight the queen bee. And it just always, I don't know. There's something weird about this level that I don't like. And I think it's definitely the king bee and the queen bee. I think that they can trap you in different spots where they just endlessly hit you. And they've got attacks where they hit you like 3 times, it does like 30 damage, and you just die really quickly. it gets very annoying when you fight those two. However, you do have a trick to kind of get around this. And I don't know if it was intentional or not. And you won't, I didn't actually film this. Well, I didn't include that in here, but you can actually just keep evolving different parts of your body, and that will automatically heal you. So the easiest way that I always did it was with the horn. You just keep evolving your like basic horn, and then when that breaks or when you start to die, you just remove the horn, and that always resets you back to, full health. It's kind of cheap, but the game lets you do it, so I'm not going to get too upset about it, because the game can be incredibly cheap as well. So why can't I be cheap? So that little mechanic of constantly, evolving and then, I guess, devolving your character, that's kind of how I got through a lot of this stuff. I should mention this as well as we go into the Reptile Age. The thing about the bosses is they give you a whole bunch of, evolution points. So you beat the end boss of each stage, you get a bunch of evolution points, but then you evolve into, the next creature, and you lose all of your evolution points. So what the hell was the point of that? I don't know. Maybe there's a score thing at the end, or maybe it ties into, getting a good ending, but I don't think that's the case. I've never seen anything about, good or bad endings on here. So, I don't know. There are different spots in this where you can actually achieve a different ending. It doesn't end well for you, but you can actually achieve a different ending. The one that I know about, and the one that I've encountered and tried, was in the reptile stage that we're going into. The T-Rex will actually ask you to join them, and if you say yes, then you're just there for when, the extinction event happens and everybody dies. If you say no, then you just go and you fight them for an indeterminate amount of time until they just sort of decide that the stage needs to end. So when you get into the reptile stage, this is where some stuff happens that kind of bugs me. And I really probably shouldn't, but you get to a certain point in the reptile stage where you can go up and you can go up into the bird spot, where the birds live, and you can make it to a mammal cave and whatnot. I didn't do it here because I didn't feel like it. But it's kind of weird, and it doesn't really matter too much to me. You do have a few more options with your evolution as well. You can go with 4 legs, or you can go with 2 legs. 4 legs gives you better defense. 2 legs lets you jump higher, that sort of thing. And you do have a few different evolution things that you can sort of go down depending on what way you want to go. And you can get different stuff if you go to the bird fort and you do that sort of thing. You can get different evolution paths. I never really did that because I just didn't feel like it. I've done it before, I think, but I didn't do it here. So this is where the game kind of... I don't know if they couldn't think of a big dinosaur for you to fight, but I think they just sort of gave up a little bit on this stage and put all their effort into this ending scene for this level, which I think is really cool and kind of a little sad, but gosh, this stupid stage. So there's no boss here. You just go to where the T-Rex are, and I think you kill 10 of them, or you're supposed to kill 10 of them, and then Gaia, the nice lady here who's kind of guiding you through this game, I probably should have mentioned that earlier. Once you've killed enough to, I guess, satisfy her bloodlust, she decides that it's time for you to leave, and then the extinction event happens, the Ice Age rolls in, and most of the dinosaurs die off. Yay, I suppose. all the other ones, at least the other stages, you felt like you actually accomplished something and you did the right thing. But with the reptile stage, it's just kind of like, well, you outlived everything, good job. I know I'm probably sounding a little bit harsh here, but I really do like this game for some weird reason. It's annoying, but I do actually enjoy it. Anyway, let's go on to the mammal level, which is where stuff gets kind of dumb, at least in my opinion. So in order to advance in this, you have to get abducted by the birdmen, and then you go up into their weird little bird fort. You can do this in the reptile stage, but here you have to do it. It's not optional. And their goddamn fort, like, my god. It makes, like, I don't know how anyone could have figured out this stupid fort back in the day. Because it makes no sense. You're hopping through all these different teleporters and just kind of praying that you do it right. But you end up blowing up their little castle, which is kind of fun. And then you come to fight the Yeti. And this is where shit just gets really annoying. See, here I'm not using the right neck. I'm probably supposed to be using, like, the longer neck if I wanted to use this form. But yeah, the Yeti just kind of locks you down and kills you off. But this is kind of the cool part in the mammal stage. And you kind of have to mess around to figure out how to do this, but you can evolve into a human right away. You just need to have, like, the rabbit body and the cat jaws. I think it's cat jaws. And that lets you kind of turn into an ape. Now, in this form, you don't have any of the options that you had with the other forms. You only have one to, like, evolve further, which basically means you stand up on two legs and you find a bone, which is always fun. But then you turn into a human with a club, and then you can turn into a human with, like, a stone axe. I always kind of find it funny that as you evolve, like, your weapon evolves, which is kind of fun. And I didn't know you could do this until recently. I had never tried to kind of get that 5,000 point body. Just because I didn't really care. I was more concerned with trying to figure out the Birdman fort and then figure out how to defeat the Yeti. And that's the only thing that I've never done in this. I've never beaten this stupid Yeti. I gave it a good shot here, but I just could not do it. So that was E.V.O. It's a very fun game. It's incredibly annoying. It's definitely not an easy game. But it's kind of fun because you get into that loop of just killing creatures and gaining points in order to make yourself better. It can get a little repetitive at times because you might spend a while kind of grinding to save up as many evolution points as you need. Especially if you play the way that I did. If you're actually good at platformers, then you probably don't need to. But that was just kind of the way that I had to do it. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and have a great day, everybody.